This is Gail from A Child Advocacy Place, LLC, and this is the second in our series of helpful tips for parents of special needs students.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Coniglio, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker in New Providence, New Jersey. I specialize in working with children, teenagers, and adults who are suffering from anxiety. Anxiety is really tricky because it can come out so many different ways in so many different people, and it can come out differently in children and in adolescents and also in adults. So first, when I start working with someone who has anxiety, it's important to understand how their anxiety is affecting them. And again, it will affect everyone differently. Sometimes if it's a young child, the child might be having trouble sleeping. They might fear there's monsters under the bed or in the closet. For example, it could be something they might be afraid to use the bathroom in school. It could really be anything. And so we'll start to talk about how it's affecting them. And it really helps to educate people about what anxiety is and how the fight or flight feeling goes off in your brain when something comes over you that makes you feel really afraid. So that's really understanding what the feeling is. And if you don't have anxiety, it is really hard to understand. So a big part of what I do is help to educate not only the person suffering from anxiety, but the family or the people in that person's life, because if they don't get it, they might not be able to have empathy and act accordingly with that person. So once they're educated on how anxiety affects you, then you need to really start to understand how best to cope with anxiety. Because I do believe that anxiety is common, and I also believe that it is very treatable. And the best treatment for anxiety is meeting with a counselor, and or you may need to meet with a psychiatrist and be prescribed medication. Those are the two treatments that, when you put them together, are really very effective to treat anxiety. And I like to tell my clients that anxiety can be difficult, but you can live a very normal life with it as long as you understand it and you're able to cope with it. So how can you cope with anxiety? Lots of ways. But again, that's really personal to the person suffering from the condition. A lot of people like to talk to a friend about their anxiety. They like to you could take a walk, you could watch a funny show. For children, it really helps to read books like this one right here and see that other people are also going through similar things. Another idea or strategy you can try is I also tell my clients to perhaps pick a theme song or a theme saying to give yourself the confidence that you know that you can handle whatever it is that comes your way. Because things are going to happen in life that are stressful and upsetting, and it might send off your anxiety. So if you have kind of a theme saying, like sometimes like it can be something like it's okay or it's going to be okay, or a theme song. Mine's I Have a Tiger for all of you Rocky fans. But you can come up with your own, something that works for you to help soothe and calm you and reassure you in the moment. Something else that's really helpful is working on your confidence, is remembering all the good things about you and all the things that you've accomplished and that you can handle. So if your anxiety starts to make you feel like you're not capable, you can remember that you are capable and that you can handle it. You might not like it, you may not want to, but you certainly can do it. And especially with the support of friends and family and or a counselor and whoever else is in your life that can help you get through it. But anxiety is also the kind of thing that kind of can ebb and flow. It can be brought on by changes in the weather, changes in if you're not getting enough rest. So wellness is really important. You want to eat right and get enough rest and drink enough water and all those good things we all know we should be doing, but don't always remember to do for ourselves. And also as a parent, to make sure for your children that they do have some downtime and they can relax and not always be on the go like we all are so much today. So that's all really important to manage, to kind of keep your anxiety kind of level and not, but also remember that it's also affected by hormones. So all you teenagers and preteens out there, that can also cause anxiety to rise, and that's something that we're not always all aware of, but is something to try to remember, and to be able to communicate when you're feeling really anxious to somebody so that they know what's going on with you and you're not just wondering like, what's going on with so-and-so today, So again, once you understand yourself and the people around you understand you, it'll be easier to cope with the condition of anxiety. But again, remember, it's common, it's treatable, and you can keep on keeping on with it. I think one of the most troubling things for people with anxiety is their repetitive thoughts, the looping. They can't sort of make that stop, and that can be really difficult to deal with. But you can learn to try to work on your thoughts, because that very much affects your behavior. One of the biggest challenges for people who are suffering from anxiety is trying to kind of calm or quiet your mind. And a lot of people try different strategies to cope with that. You can try yoga, is really effective. I know a lot of people are turning to meditation. One thing I like to do, again, goes back to educating yourself on what anxiety is and how it affects you, is to remember that when you feel fear, that's when your brain, goes into that fight or flight, and you're on edge, and the cortisol is going off in your mind. You want to stop, and one of the things I always tell my clients is you want to go fact over fear. Is it a fact that you are in danger? Most of the time you are not. It's a fear that is making you feel afraid, and it's nothing that you really need to be afraid of. So that's a little bit of, the general idea of when you're experiencing anxiety and when you seek help for it, which I encourage you to do. There's no shame in it. I think it takes a very strong person to ask for help and to seek out, whether you seek out a family member, a friend, a school counselor, an outside of school counselor, a pediatrician, a general doctor, whoever you need to reach out to take that first step to say, I'm uncomfortable, something doesn't feel right, so you can get the help that you need to feel better. Because that's what it really comes down to, your quality of life. So don't ever be afraid to ask for help, and help is out there. So if you have questions about anxiety, you can put them below, and we can, I guess, perhaps try to answer them. So anyway, all the best to all of you out there. Thanks for watching. And if I could ever be of any assistance, you can find me on Psychology Today. I'm right in New Providence, and I'll see you around. Bye.